Look up at the sky. Imagine trying to live your daily life, cook your food, and raise your children at an altitude where commercial airplanes fly. A place where the air is so incredibly thin and the oxygen levels are so dangerously low that a normal human being from the city would pass out and slowly die. Welcome to the roof of the world. Welcome to the Khumbu Valley, high in the snow-capped Himalayan mountains of Nepal. Here, towering above the clouds, stands Mount Everest, a massive pyramid of dark rock and white ice, reaching exactly 29,032 feet into the atmosphere. For wealthy tourists and foreign mountain climbers, Mount Everest is a playground. It is the ultimate extreme sports challenge. They buy expensive plane tickets to the capital city of Kathmandu, purchase thick down jackets, put on heavy hiking boots, and travel to Nepal to conquer the summit. But for the local people who actually live here, the mountains are not a sport. This is their permanent home. They are the Sherpa people, a resilient, deeply spiritual ethnic group who migrated from the cold plateaus of Tibet centuries ago. And they have built a functional society in a landscape that actively tries to reject human life. To understand how extreme daily life is in the Himalayas, you must first look at the geography of the Khumbu region. There are absolutely no paved roads here. There are no cars. There are no trucks. There are no trains. If you want to move supplies from the lower valleys up to the high-altitude villages like Namche Bazaar, there is only one way to do it. You walk. If you stand on one of the many terrifying narrow metal suspension bridges that hang high above the rushing Dudh Kosi River, you will witness the real economy of Nepal. Every single day you will see a long train of heavy, hairy animals called yaks, walking slowly up the steep, rocky mountain trails. These massive animals are perfectly built for the snow and the cold. Behind the yaks, you will see local Sherpa porters carrying impossible weights. Because there are no trucks, human beings must carry everything. You will see a small Sherpa man wearing simple hiking clothes, carrying a massive stack of heavy metal propane gas cylinders on his back. You will see locals carrying wooden building materials, huge sacks of rice, glass windows, and crates of Coca-Cola, all balanced on their backs, supported only by a thick woven strap wrapped across their foreheads. They walk for days, stepping over dangerous icy rocks, climbing thousands of feet in elevation, enduring freezing rain and blinding snowstorms. When you sit inside a warm wooden tea house in a high mountain village and you drink a hot cup of tea, you must realize that every single brick of that building and the tea leaves in your cup was carried up the mountain on the back of a human being or a yak. But physical strength alone cannot explain how the Sherpas survive here. There is a biological secret hidden inside their bodies. When a normal person travels to high altitude, their body struggles to find oxygen. They breathe heavily. They suffer from terrible altitude sickness, extreme headaches, and severe nausea. At the very top of Mount Everest, in the area known as the death zone, the oxygen is so thin that human cells literally begin to die. But the Sherpa people do not get altitude sickness like the rest of us. Just like the Bahau people who evolved to dive deep underwater in Indonesia, the Sherpas of Nepal have genetically evolved to survive in the sky. Medical scientists and biologists have studied the Sherpas for decades. They took blood samples and measured their lungs. What they discovered is a marvel of human evolution. Over thousands of years of living in the thin mountain air, the DNA of the Sherpa people has mutated. Their bodies have become incredibly efficient engines. Their blood flows differently. Their mitochondria the energy centers of their cells, use oxygen much more effectively than a person born at sea level. While a foreign mountain climber is gasping for air, wearing a heavy plastic oxygen mask and a pressurized tank on his back. A local Sherpa can walk up the exact same steep glacier, breathing the thin, freezing air naturally without any extra equipment. They are, quite literally, superhumans of the mountains. But this biological superpower does not make life easy. It just makes it possible. Because the environment itself is completely lethal. If you watch a documentary about climbing Mount Everest, you will see a terrifying landscape called the Khumbu Icefall. It is a moving, shifting river of massive blue ice blocks, deep black crevasses, and towering frozen cliffs. It looks like a shattered glass puzzle. Every spring, before the wealthy foreign climbers arrive, a specialized group of local men, known as the icefall doctors, must go to work. These elite Sherpa mountaineers walk directly into this incredibly dangerous frozen labyrinth. Wearing heavy crampons on their boots, holding sharp metal ice axes, and carrying hundreds of feet of thick nylon climbing rope, they build the path. They use long aluminum ladders to create fragile bridges across bottomless cracks in the ice. They tie safety ropes to frozen walls. They do this while the ice is actively shifting and cracking beneath their boots. It is one of the most dangerous jobs on planet Earth. Every year, massive blocks of ice collapse without warning. Deep avalanches of heavy white snow roar down the mountainside, burying everything in their path. Many Sherpas have lost their lives in the snow, swallowed by the mountain while setting the ropes for foreign tourists. This constant, daily exposure to death and danger has deeply shaped the culture and the minds of the people who live here. The Sherpas do not view the mountains as empty rocks to be conquered. If you walk through any village in the Himalayas, you will instantly notice the vibrant, beautiful colors of their religion. The landscape is completely covered in thousands of bright red, blue, yellow, green, and white prayer flags, fluttering wildly in the strong mountain wind. You will see ancient stone monuments called stupas, painted with the mystical eyes of the Buddha. You will see elderly people spinning heavy brass prayer wheels with their hands, muttering ancient, rhythmic chants. The Sherpas practice Tibetan Buddhism. To them, the mountains are alive. They are the sacred homes of powerful gods and spirits. They do not call the highest mountain Everest. They call it Chomolungma, which translates to the mother goddess of the world. Before any Sherpa steps foot on the dangerous glaciers to begin the climbing season, the entire village gathers for a sacred ritual called the puja ceremony. Buddhist monks wearing thick red robes sit on wooden carpets. They light small fires using dried juniper leaves, creating thick, sweet-smelling gray smoke that rises into the freezing air. They offer rice, butter, and baked goods to the mountain. They chant deep, echoing prayers, asking the goddess of the mountain for permission to climb, and asking for safe passage through the deadly snow. In modern society, we use technology to force our way through nature. We blow up mountains with dynamite to build highways. But in the Himalayas, respect is the only way to survive. You do not demand anything from the mountain. You ask for its mercy. If a brutal snowstorm hits the camp, they do not complain. They stay inside their bright yellow and orange nylon tents. They drink hot soup. They wait, because they know that the mountain is in charge. However, despite their deep respect for tradition, the modern world is crashing into the Himalayas at a terrifying speed. The lifestyle of the remote mountain villages is changing faster than ever before. Decades ago, life here was completely isolated. People grew potatoes in the rocky soil. They herded yaks for milk and thick wool. But today, the economy is almost entirely dependent on global tourism. During the spring climbing season, the trails are crowded with thousands of foreigners carrying expensive trekking poles, wearing bright Gore-Tex jackets, and using digital GPS devices. If you stand at Everest Base Camp in May, it does not look like a remote wilderness. It looks like a massive, temporary city of brightly colored tents resting directly on the rocky gray glacier. This influx of foreign money has brought wealth, but it has also brought massive problems. The trails are littered with discarded plastic water bottles, empty green oxygen tanks, and human waste. The pristine white snow is increasingly stained by the pollution of thousands of visitors. And look up at the sky above the peaks. You will not just see birds anymore. The quiet spiritual silence of the Himalayas is now constantly shattered by the loud, heavy chopping sound of helicopter blades. Modern helicopters fly constantly up and down the valleys. They deliver expensive luxury food to wealthy climbers. They perform dangerous aerial rescues, pulling injured hikers off the high, snowy ridges and flying them directly to the modern hospitals in Kathmandu. The helicopters have made the mountains safer for tourists, but they have also changed the ancient rhythm of the land. And there is an even larger, more terrifying threat looming over the villages: climate change. The massive, ancient blue glaciers that cover the Himalayas are melting at a shocking, unprecedented rate. As the global temperature rises, the thick ice is turning into roaring rivers of water. Deep, unstable lakes are forming at the top of the mountains. For the people living in the small stone houses in the valleys below, this is a ticking time bomb. If one of these high-altitude glacial lakes breaks its natural dam, millions of gallons of freezing water and massive boulders will wash down the mountain, completely destroying the villages, the suspension bridges, and the farms. The Sherpa people have survived avalanches, freezing temperatures, and thin oxygen for centuries. But they cannot stop the ice from melting. Because of these extreme challenges, a deep cultural shift is happening within the families. For generations, a Sherpa man's destiny was to climb. Fathers taught their sons how to tie heavy climbing knots, how to wear heavy boots, and how to survive in the freezing death zone. But today, the older generation wants something different for their children. Many veteran climbers who have lost brothers and friends to the avalanches are using the money they earn from foreign tourists to send their children away. They send them down the mountain, to the bustling, crowded city streets of Kathmandu. They send them to modern schools. They send them to the universities in New York, London, and Australia. They want their children to become doctors, software engineers, and business owners. They do not want them risking their lives on the dangerous blue ice of the Khumbu icefall. As the youth leave for the cities, the ancient villages high in the clouds are slowly aging. It leaves us with a profound, bittersweet question about the future. Will the traditional life in the Himalayas eventually disappear? Will the high tea houses and the yak herds become nothing more than a tourist attraction, operated by a few remaining locals? Perhaps. But the spirit of the Sherpa people is not easily erased. Even the young people who move to modern cities across the globe still hang the colorful Buddhist prayer flags outside their apartment windows. They still drink the traditional butter tea. They still feel the pull of the towering white peaks. To live in the Himalayas is to understand the true scale of the universe. When you stand on a frozen ridge at 20,000 feet, looking down at the clouds filling the valleys below like an ocean of white cotton. When you feel the freezing wind bite your face and your lungs burn for a single breath of oxygen, you realize how